Hey guys, it's Amy. Welcome back to Too Blessed. Today's video is going to be a little bit ironic because in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you some of the non-prescription remedies that I use to try to help with nausea. And the reason this video is ironic is because right now I am feeling very nauseous. I've been having a rough couple of days. Yesterday, I basically didn't get out of bed at all. Today, it's about 2:30 now, and I got out of bed about 2 o'clock. But I'm still just not feeling good. And I've been thinking about doing this video for a while, and so I thought today, while I've actually been using some of these, I would go ahead and share them with you and maybe give you some ideas to use the next time you have some nausea. Now, of course, I have gastroparesis, and I'm sorry, I'm sniffling because I think I've got some kind of allergy thing going on here. But I have gastroparesis, and that's where my nausea and vomiting comes from. But most of these remedies would work if you are pregnant and you're having morning sickness, or if you just, you catch one of those stomach bugs and you're just feeling nauseous. And as far as I know, most of them are safe. If you have any, if you're pregnant and you have any concern about any of these, just talk to your doctor. But in fact, when I was pregnant, I had pretty bad morning sickness, and several of these were recommended to me by my doctor at that time. So, I'm sure that most of these would be okay. But again, if you have any concern, just check with your doctor. I sort of classify my nausea into like 2 different classifications. There's nausea, which is what I'm feeling right now. I feel nauseous, I feel sick, but then there's like a second stage to nausea, or I even refer to it sometimes as a different type of nausea, where yes, I feel nauseous, but I actually feel like I am going to vomit. And so I've got some remedies for both of those situations. So I'm going to start out with the remedies that help me. I'm not saying they work for everybody, but they have helped me to stop myself from vomiting. So there's been a couple situations where I've been in the hospital, or, you're just out in public and you really don't want to vomit in front of a bunch of people. So sometimes you have to kind of try to find a way to maybe stop it, at least until you can get somewhere and be able to take care of that issue. So I've been using this one this morning. This one, I can't remember where I first heard it, probably from a nurse, I believe. And that is to use these little alcohol swabs. Now these are the ones, when you go to the doctor and you're going to get a shot, they take a little alcohol swab and they swab that area. Or if they're going to test your blood sugar, they'll use an alcohol swab to clean that before they prick your finger, things like that. Now, these are so cheap. We got this box, I believe, from Walmart. Yeah, because it's the Rely On brand, and that's a Walmart brand. This box of 100 swabs was $1.99. That's a pretty cheap remedy. So what I do is I keep these all over the house. I have some tucked away in probably every room of the house, in my purse, in the table next to my bed, wherever I'm going to be, I try to keep some of those. And like I said, I've been using this today, and I have one right here. I have my open, and all I do, I don't pull it out of the package because I don't need to touch it. It's all wet. So all I do is I just rip off the top of the package, and then I just kind of open it like that. And then you just kind of like breathe in the alcohol. And it seems strange because that alcohol is not really a pleasant scent, but something about it will just kind of like calm that feeling of like immediate need to vomit. Now, again, I'm not saying that any of these are 100% foolproof, because there are times where I will try this and it doesn't help. But there's been a lot of times that I've done it and it has helped so much, especially like I said, like maybe being in a public place and just rescuing you. I mean, I've used them sitting in church. I'll take one out of my purse and just kind of like discreetly sort of try to breathe that in. Now, another thing that works as an alternative to this is also hand sanitizer, because it also has that same type of alcohol in it. And the hand sanitizer is nice if you're in a place like in a church or something like that, and you don't really want people to see you, huffing out of a package, just in case. Might not look the greatest. But the thing I found with the hand sanitizer is like if you rub it on your hands and then you try to smell your hand, the smell is pretty much gone. So it's best if you can, I'll kind of take a little bit and put it like in the palm of my hand, but leave it really wet. Like don't rub it in all the way, and then just kind of do, pretend you're coughing or something and just kind of do that and breathe it in for a minute. I have to be careful with the hand sanitizer because some of them have scents in them. And if there's like an added scent, sometimes that actually makes me feel sicker. So I try to get just like a plain unscented hand sanitizer, but really those little alcohol swabs, I feel like those work the best for me. And they're just, like I said, they're just very convenient, not messy. You just have it there, you breathe it in a little bit, and like I said, it usually works pretty good. The other one that I have found to help like stop that urge to vomit is probably pretty common. I think maybe most people know this, and that is peppermint oil. And it's kind of the same principle as the alcohol swab, in that you can take the peppermint oil and put like a drop or two on like a piece of cotton or on a handkerchief or a tissue or something like that, and then just breathe in that peppermint, and that works really well. The first time I tried that, I was in the hospital and I was supposed to have surgery, but my potassium level was too high. And if your potassium level is too high and they go ahead and do surgery, you could actually go into cardiac arrest from the anesthesia. So it was great that they caught it. They had to cancel the surgery. But before I left the hospital, they wanted me to drink this disgusting drink. I can't think of the name of it right now. But it was, this medicine that you were supposed to drink, and then it would help to draw that potassium out of your body. And it was so gross. I was already not feeling good, and then they gave me this, and they said, oh, just think of it as a chocolate milkshake. And the problem was it wasn't chocolate flavored. It was gray, and it was thick like a milkshake, but it was gray, and it did not taste good. So, I was trying my best to get it down and then to keep it down. And one of the nurses saw that I was struggling, and she said she had some peppermint oil in her purse, and she was going to go get me some. So she just took like a little cotton ball, put a couple drops on it, brought that to me, and it worked so well. I was able to keep that medicine down. It was able to help bring my potassium down, and then we were able to reschedule the surgery later and get that completed. So those are my two ideas for if you feel like I'm going to vomit right now, try one of those, see if it helps. Okay, then the other remedies that I have are basically just for like general nausea. They're not really going to help you stop you from vomiting. You may still vomit if you're trying these, but to me, they just kind of like soothe your stomach a little bit and maybe just kind of calm it down is maybe the word. So the things I like to use, and like I said too, most of these are pretty typical, what you would hear if you asked someone for a suggestion. The first being tea. Now, of course, a very good one, going back to the peppermint oil, is peppermint tea. And I've heard any kind of mint tea, but I think the only one I've tried in the past was peppermint tea. And it's, it's kind of a hit or miss. It's just, I think it depends on how bad your nausea is. You know, if your nausea is really bad, it's kind of like nothing will help. But if it's a little milder, you know, some of these things might help a little bit. So try, you know, drinking the peppermint tea. I've even found that sometimes just the warmth of the tea even seems to kind of help like calm things down a little bit sometimes. So whether you have peppermint tea or not, maybe just trying some hot tea might help you. The second thing that's very commonly recommended is ginger. There's a lot of different ways that you can take ginger. There is ginger tea. There are ginger candies. I've actually seen like either like a, what was the one I tried was like an Altoid. In fact, I think it was Altoids, and they were ginger. And we saw them at like a pharmacy or something. And I was like, I'm going to try those. For me, those did not help because the ginger was incredibly strong, and it really just kind of like burned my mouth. The inside of my mouth was raw after I took just one of those, and it really burned my throat and everything. I do have a little bit of trouble with like acid reflux, and so I think maybe that's why perhaps the ginger hasn't been the best idea for me. Now, one form of ginger that has helped me is ginger ale. And I usually do try to make sure that I get the ginger ale that actually is made from real ginger, not just flavored like ginger, because I can tell a difference. You know, the just flavored ginger ale, it does sometimes help my stomach, because one of the other things that I do sometimes to help my stomach is just, you know, sipping on like Sprite. So either ginger ale or Sprite, just kind of little sips every once in a while can help. But I do notice that if I get the ginger ale that has real ginger in it, it does seem to help calm my stomach. So I would definitely recommend to try the ginger. Then I already mentioned the ginger ale and the Sprite. One that I tried one time, and I really didn't try it with the intent of helping my nausea, is grape juice. And of course you have to make sure it's 100% grape juice. And one of the things I read said that it should be the Concord grape, so the purple grape juice. But anyway, one morning I was just feeling really nauseous, and I happened to have some grape juice in the refrigerator. And so I thought I would just try drinking a little bit just to see if I could keep it down, basically, was what I was trying to do. And after I drank a little bit, I noticed that my nausea was gone. And I thought it was just a fluke, but I tried it again another time, and it worked that time too. Well, then I did a little bit of research, and I actually found some studies, I believe from Johns Hopkins Medical Center, that they had used grape juice in a study with chemotherapy patients, and they had found that having them drink the grape juice did in fact help with the nausea that they were experiencing from the chemotherapy. So apparently there is some science behind that. Now, since that time, I have tried it again a few times, and those times it really didn't seem to help that much. But the way I see it is, it's one of those things that why not go ahead and try it? You know, a little bit of natural grape juice probably isn't going to hurt you, so just go ahead and give it a try. The last couple of things that I have, and one of them I'm actually using right now, and hopefully it's not distracting you and driving you crazy, but I have a piece of gum in my mouth. And this works especially well, I think, because I mentioned I have some acid reflux, and I read that chewing a piece of gum can actually sort of force the stomach acid to sort of go back down into the stomach. And if you get that acid back down, that will kind of help ease some of the nausea too. So when I have nausea, that nausea like first thing when I wake up in the morning, I think I have determined that that is from the stomach acid coming up. And so sometimes if I either chew a piece of gum or I can get a piece of hard candy, what seems to work the best for both of those is if they are mint, like a peppermint. But sometimes, like with the hard candy, even something like a Jolly Rancher or something like that sometimes does help. And I think just because you're building up your saliva and then swallowing it, and I think that counteracts the acid and sort of just, like I said, just kind of brings it down and calms it down. And then the last thing that I use to sort of ease my nausea is Gatorade. And I feel like it's the same kind of principle as the grape juice. Like, it just sort of calms down my stomach. I mean, literally, I can be feeling sick, and if I get some Gatorade and take a few sips, it really makes a big difference. And I don't understand why, but you know, I'll take it. And then I was just going to share a couple of things too about what to do after you've been sick. So say you've been nauseous for a day or two, maybe you've been throwing up. As you start to feel better, it really is recommended that before you just jump back in and start, you know, just start eating a steak again or something like that, it is recommended that you kind of ease back into it. And one of my GI doctors told me that it's really good to go on a clear liquid diet, at least for a short time, because it just gives your stomach a little bit of a rest. You know, because if you've been sick, your stomach has been like working hard, but not working correctly. And as you start to feel a little bit better, if you just start putting food in there again, then your stomach just has to like kick up and start working really hard again. So he recommended that, you know, after every little bout like that, to at least give a little bit of time where you just kind of stay on some clear liquids for a while, like, you know, popsicles, Jello, the Sprite or the ginger ale, Gatorade, maybe some chicken broth or beef broth or things like that. But just give your stomach a little bit of time to recover. Even though you're feeling better, your stomach might not be feeling better after being so sick. So, you know, just depending on how long you've been sick too, you know, if you've only been sick for maybe a day or two, you might not need very much time to let your stomach recover. But if you've maybe been sick for like a week, you probably want to give yourself a few days of just doing, you know, start out with some clear liquids and then add in, you know, maybe a few, you know, other kinds of soup and things like that. Just sort of slowly introduce things to give your stomach a little chance to work up to having to fully function again. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of my series that I'm trying to do for August, which is Gastropresis Awareness Month. I know we're getting towards the end of the month, so I hopefully will have at least one more video. I would like to share with you my specific treatment plan for my gastroparesis. I would like to kind of share the things that I do. Up until this point, I mean, I've been doing really good, but last week I had a few days where I wasn't feeling the greatest, and now this week I've had a couple days where I've actually been feeling a little worse than that. So hopefully I will get that one up here in maybe in another week or so before the month is over. And if you are not subscribed yet, I would love to have you subscribe and join our family here, and I'll see you in the next video.